Hello, I'm Sari Wild, and today this call is what is witness ceremony? So I shall cue up my presentation. It keeps me on track here. Welcome everyone who's live and on the recording as well. So present and record. Sure. Present. Thank you for hanging with me as I work out my own. Here comes Cassandra. Maybe I shall share screen first. Are you already seeing my shared screen? I don't think so. Okay. Okay.
Yep. No, we are.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, here we go. What is witness ceremony? So this is, I've been facilitating this for 2 years, one-on-one, and really felt called to add and offer a group element. And so I am facilitating this for the next 6 months or so. So I'm calling it a season. It's actually 2 seasons. It's like spring and summer. So hello, my name is Sari Wild. This is my statement from my witness ceremony. When people love me and leave me, I feel connected to God. And I heard somebody cough. Would everyone just make sure that you are muted, please? So yeah, it's some freaky logic, the statement that you come up with. And this is why I created witness ceremony, because for all the things we know about our dysfunction and all the work that we've done, the precise identification of it tends to evade our awareness because it is such a strong protector. And I'm going to talk about that more later, but I love sharing these statements and sharing mine, this awareness that this is what happens. This is my pattern, that like all of the things that I didn't like had in common. When people love me and leave me, I feel connected to God. So there's what happens, and then there's the benefit of it. That's the why. Okay, so this is what we're going over today. What it is, what I promise, how to be successful, how it works, how it's facilitated, facilitators in training, and next steps, and what you can actually do with this. Okay, what is it? Well, it's probably really annoying, if not downright painful. And I just did a little post this morning about this because I talk about, I use this word problem a lot in this work. And I'm not into pain point marketing. However, well, the way I think of problem here is like math, like it's something to be solved. And one of my great coaches I've worked with, David Schwindeman, says, if there's not a solution, you don't have a problem. And then we're also acknowledging with the word problem that, well, this problem was a solution. And, in your early life, maybe even as far back as in the womb. And it's simply in this now moment contains errors for who you are, who you're becoming. So this is the problematic pattern that persists seemingly no matter what you do. So it's like the people who work with me, and myself included, working with me, working with myself, we do a lot of work. We are titans of growth. And we tend to be really driven. And so like what I was calling this, as it was starting to really dawn in my consciousness, because I would make these amazing leaps and creations and take risks and, really exciting stuff. But then like I would get tripped up or super duper crash and burn with what seemed like, I called it a residue. And it was like, I would try something else. I would do another training. I would try another modality. I would do some more coaching to address that. And while I would make progress, like that residue would remain and it would trip me up again. So seemingly no matter what you do. And it's a very adaptable protector of a little one. So like I said, this could go as far back as in the womb. We are very impacted by our mother's nervous system when we were in the womb, and even by people's thoughts and in our family, in our ancestry, and the things that we hear in the womb. So this pattern is it is the one that stepped in when you didn't feel safe and when you actually weren't safe. And it objectively, it might not have seemed like a big deal, but that's not what matters here. What matters is to you as the being, you weren't safe, and this solution came in and it worked, and it kept you safe. You continued to live and you made it into this moment. And it's fierce. It will do whatever it takes to protect you, which is why, and I'll talk about this a little bit later, but it's why in the aftercare of your ceremony and discovering your pattern, the aftercare recommendation is to not try to change your pattern and not try to destroy it, because that protector will adapt. And this is exactly why it can seem like you've solved it with something. It'll kind of go underground for a while, but then it adapts and it'll pop up in another way. So it's really important to respect the nature and the effectiveness of that protector by not trying to change it and not trying to get rid of it. It will naturally start to shift with you when it sees that that's not what you're trying to do. It takes this job very, very, very seriously, like the most seriously. And then this is, it is to do witness ceremony, to embark on this or to even consider it is in the, I don't know, it's in a sequence, it's in a trajectory of saying yes to the awareness of this pattern so that you can have a sovereign yes. So it's like, until you actually see it and understand it, like as in why it exists and what it's doing, what the benefit is and how you do it, you actually don't have, it's not available to you to consent to growing and changing anything. And that's why it can seem to sabotage you. And just one more thing about, this word problem and like the potential, like what that potentially might trigger in you, like in a self-judgment kind of way, is that sometimes like we don't want to look at the problem because we don't want to engage in, whatever feelings are there, which may include, shame and judgment. But that's also the pattern at work, adapting and protecting you. So we create a safe and a logical space to just see it and be with it without having to do anything about it. And that's, paradoxically, perhaps what allows something to be done, what allows you to say yes. Okay, this is what I promise, because, there's all kinds of stuff here, but this is what I am promising in this work, in this facilitation season, is that you shall identify your pattern, how you do it, and why. Like, this is the meat. You get your hands on, you get your sights on, get your senses on that stuff. And that I'm promising that the way that you get it, the way that you perceive it, is going to come through you. So I'm not here reading you or telling you. And this was a huge breakthrough for me as a practitioner, because I'm a trained clairvoyant. I'm a projector in human design. I'm a very insightful person about other people. And so, when I first stepped into being a professional service provider, and even having gone through clairvoyant training, I would try to just tell people. And it was so frustrating because nobody could hear me. And it wasn't until I learned how to draw it out of them, use my sense and my seeing to just kind of stay present with them and reflect, but get them to say it. Not get them to say it, but support them to say what it is. And then the guidance is to sort through the information and cook it down to the essential piece that is just so clear. Because of the adaptability of our pattern, there's a really powerful confusion phase in this process. And I actually have that in my design, and so do the people who are interested in facilitating right now, including Nova. So we are very practiced and skilled in the realm of confusion to carry people through, but it's still not anybody reading you or telling you what to do. And this is so magical because it's going to be in the precise language of you and your pattern that it'll make that freaky sense to you. And then I promise you, if you show up and you do the aftercare, and the next slide I think is about how to be successful at this, and you receive the support, you stay with yourself, it will update, the pattern will update, and you will grow. Okay, how to be successful. Commit to identifying your pattern. I'm really good at keeping people on track with this in ceremony because the first order of business in this process is to get your statement. So my statement is that when people love me and leave me, I feel connected to God. Nova couldn't make it today. She'll be sharing, and she's shared it many times in some of the other videos that we've done, and she'll be sharing it hers, as she's present in this facilitation and offering support. And you'll get to hear from the other people who have gone through it. A couple of them are here today. So yeah, commit to identifying your pattern. In the midst of it, it can be like, oh my God. Overwhelming. It can feel confusing. And that is the pattern trying to protect us. So we're here to support you to breathe through it and really come back to your commitment. Show up to be supported in integration. So once you get your pattern, you're done with that for a while, in another year or so, if you'd like to do it again. We have some people doing that in this round. That's an experiment. My hunch is that it'll the language can update to reflect the growth. But once you initially get your pattern identified, how you do it and why, show up to be supported in integration. So we have 3 integration calls, group calls a month, and we have, and there's a wilderness period, which I'll talk about the wilderness. And then you also might take your own wilderness, but So, you can gauge, I'm basically showing up and Nova's showing up, and, as the other people who are facilitating are ready, they'll be, available to support people in their process. But there's just this field of support. Show up for it as it makes sense for your process, and, check in with me on your trajectory and how things are going for you. Do the aftercare practices that make sense for you. So we keep discovering more aftercare practices every time somebody else does it, which is one of the really beautiful things about working in a group field with this stuff is, sharing best practices and seeing what might work for you that work for someone else and coming up with your own adaptations. But the main purpose of aftercare practices are to anchor you in your present moment of feeling, experiencing, accepting where you are right now, where you're coming from even, and your trajectory, by not trying to change or destroy it. Very, 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 very important. Like I said before, if you try to change it or destroy it, which, hey, it's tempting. It's like, I've been waiting all my life trying to figure out why this shit keeps happening to me. Of course, the second I get my sights on it, I'm going to blow it out of here. And we have a lot of language in our, in the growth fields lately, clearing and releasing, and yes, that shall happen. But if you go right, if you're trying to dig out that root, it's going to trigger that that protector part, or my therapist also calls them in IFS and internal family systems, firefighters, to change and go beneath your awareness again. So it's very tempting, but really what's happening as you're holding yourself and allowing yourself to be held in the aftercare and the integration of it is that you are observing the pattern and how it really works. And I mean works as in is successful and is delivering a benefit to you, so that there comes a point where you even go, oh, I don't even I don't have to change this and everything will be okay. And then that paradoxically is what gives you the power to consent to change it, which is really, it's growth. It's not, growth creates change. So that's the goal. It's a maturing of that part that was protected. And so it got frozen in time. And it needs to grow up and catch up with the rest of your life and your dreams and your desires and what you're here to create. So yeah, I'm not going to say this about pretty much anything else, but trust me on this. Okay. So this is how it works. And I see there's these numbers I didn't delete. So sorry, those numbers mean nothing. 12, or maybe they mean something to you. So how it works. You go through your ceremony, either with the group facilitation, one-on-one, or both. So like I said, the first order of business in here is to identify your pattern. I've facilitated this 2 times, a couple years ago with my colleague Amy Harris in a group. And what we found is that it worked. And it was different than the one-on-one facilitation. And those people still needed support one-on-one to decipher their pattern, because I haven't had anybody yet who didn't hit a really thick confusion field, including the people who I was saying are really good in confusion, like myself. So it's really important when you're in that confusion field to have somebody to touch base with reality, because, you can really spin out. And so, it may be that if you do the group facilitation, if you're only doing the group facilitation, like you're there for that live call, because I'm just planning on doing one right now, but if I feel moved to do another one, I will later in the season. But if you're there live, there's the opportunity to get, laser coached through the process, or a part of the process where you might have gotten stuck. You can also see other people go through it, which is really helpful. And then we have these, 3 group calls where, if you're still working on your pattern, and people will be at different places in this, because people can come in throughout the season. So, you can show up to the call to get support with, deciphering the information that you have and cooking it down to your statement. The one-on-one facilitation is 90 minutes to 2 hours. Usually people spend about an hour one-on-one just telling their story. So in the group facilitation, you're telling yourself the story and, creating a way for you to hear yourself, either through a recording or through writing and reading your own writing. It's all ultimately witnessing yourself with the reflective support of another skilled facilitator. And given that I haven't really offered both of these at the same time, it's possible that some individuals might do the group facilitation, and then if they have the one-on-ones, they chose a package with one-on-ones, that they want to follow up with a one-on-one ceremony. Once you have your statement, there's no reason to go back to a ceremony unless you're like in the facilitator mode, or it's been, a while and you're ready to upgrade your pattern. So yeah, I feel I'm cautioning we don't want to overwork the pattern. Once you've got it and it rings in your body, then you can move into integration support. So then you engage in integrative support. So there's those 3 calls a month and the packages with one-on-one available. And then you just keep working it with us during facilitation season. So Nova's been integrating for about a year now. So it's really interesting. She's been very, very engaged in her process, which is why, she's, someone I'm presenting as a facilitator and training and offering some integrative support. She's really good with integrative support. But yeah, I mean, when I did it with her, we spent a month on witness ceremony. And it's actually through her experience that that I decided to offer this longer 2-season, 6-month field of support, because we found wow, there's so much to integrate, and so much unfolds from witness ceremony alone, because there are 2 other ceremonies actually that make up the greater process that I call clarity journey. But I just see so much opportunity with just working with witness ceremony, even that it evolves, and it can even lead to unfolding what happens in the other 2 ceremonies without those being facilitated. So, this is kind of like a choose your own adventure field of support. And yeah, and you get to gauge along, with my support, and maybe Nova's if she's one of your people, and maybe the other people who come in the coming months to step into training, have support gauging how much you're engaging. And then wilderness period, this is something I have begun. I've been doing it for about 3 years now. In my one-on-one work with people, is observing a wilderness period. It was happening naturally, and so I just started to build it into my stuff, because I see it's so beneficial. And what a wilderness period is it's a break. I step back, I'm not there holding your hand and checking in all the time. And you get to put on your backpack of tools and your knowledge and know-how and go and try your own hand at it. And I've found like, oh my gosh, the biggest breakthroughs happen in this time when, you don't have, I mean, the support is still there. You have like the energetic container of the support. But you don't have it like right there on you. And you get to tinker around with it and, make your own decisions and your own risks and try your own things. And it's just really powerful. So in our schedule, I have a wilderness period built in, and all these dates I'll be having in the Telegram group. And also I think I'm going to create a portal on my website that has just like all the essential information. But you also might like just find a wilderness period coming on for yourself and feel, okay, you know what? I'm not going to go to this call or that this week or this month even. There's no way to like prescribe it to you. But I am here to support you in navigating that for yourself. Okay, how it's facilitated. So we're going to have that one live recorded group facilitation of witness ceremony. And like I said, I might do another later if that feels right. My calls are the first and third Thursdays from 1 to 2:30 p.m. Pacific. Nova's call is once a month. I think it's going to be that second week, probably on a Wednesday, but I'm still waiting on she might have even texted it to me, but I haven't put it in here. And then there's one-on-one ceremony and integration support with me available if you'd like to, if you're choosing one of those, and some of you already have. And then there's trainees like Nova, who will be available to support you as it's offered and available to sit in your one-on-one ceremony if you desire. So like Nova has some people coming in who are, wanting her to just be there and witness their one-on-one ceremony with me. And she's making agreements with some people to support them in this way or that way, because she just wants to learn and she just wants to support her people as she's able. So she's carving out time to do that. So it's like, as it's offered, as it's available, and as I discern that people are ready for that, and I feel good to, to let them offer that, that'll be available. I'm holding it down for the most part. And then there's a Telegram group for informational updates like date exceptions and community support as offered. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. My main intention is to show up on the calls in real time with people and do the work that way. But we do have, we'll have the Telegram there to have some ease of communication. So yeah, I've talked about facilitators and training. These are people who have already journeyed and sufficiently integrated their witness ceremony that they feel ready and desiring to share this with others. This was clear to me from the start that this is not mine. It is a pattern that identifies patterns. As the one who received it and is sharing it initially, my job is just to maintain the integrity of that pattern that identifies these patterns. However, I have also seen that with each person, there are going to be new ways and tools coming in and approaches, that are coming from these creative individuals to support others. And so this is the first thing I have ever felt that, man, everybody could use this. Then in human design, I'm a 5/1 and I'm like, it's my first universalization. So yeah, I'm really excited to be at this phase of, training other people to facilitate it and supporting them to, bring forth their unique way of sharing it with others. And then they may sit in on one-on-one ceremonies facilitated by me. This is only by consent and arrangement. So it's like, if you are here because someone who's gone through it with me invited you, and like they're your friend or they're your coach, or I don't know, but and that would be a comfort to you to have them present and witnessing. When you do a one-on-one ceremony, then, you know, we could arrange to have them sit in and observe, and then that supports them to not only support you in your process because they were there for it, but also that they're learning and they're getting to see how it's done firsthand. These are really sacred private spaces. In fact, sometimes in this kind of work, I like the curtain is even kind of drawn on me that I don't actually get to cognitively hear what it was, but it's spoken into the field. So yeah, these aren't the kinds of things that I feel drawn to outside of the group ceremony, because it's not quite the same. Like you have your own kind of bubble when you're doing the group ceremony, but I don't feel called to, it hasn't felt right to record these one-on-ones. But it might be that there's a special person that you'd like to be present for that. And then, yeah, the facilitators in training may host integration calls. I mean, Nova she said yes to doing one on the second week of the month. But other people may come in and have other kinds of supportive, integrative offerings. And this is only going to be with my approval. I'm like, okay, they're ready and I trust that their work is good. And yeah, so I'm not just going to be throwing somebody in who's not ready for that. Okay, so next steps, if you're wanting this or you're curious, you want to know more, the next step is just to have a play date call with me or with Nova, or if you came in through somebody else, you can connect with them. And if you want to have a three-way call with them and me, we can totally arrange that. Just let me know. I'm really active on Facebook, Messenger, Sari Wild. Feel free to reach out. Or you can let me know after this call if you're live. And then if you're already in, next steps for you are to put the dates in your calendar from Telegram or Witness Portal. Yes, I have not put them in there yet, but they shall be in there soon. And today I can work it out today. And check in with me about your payment plan and how you'd like to journey if you're planning on doing the group, and where you are with your one-on-ones and that kind of thing. This is blank. Okay, so what can you do with this? Like, why? Okay, so in terms of working with me, I require this before we take a direction of any kind. So when you go through this, you're eligible to join into Wizard cohort, which is it's one-on-one work with me to actually create something. And it's also a mastermind of the people who are in Wizard cohort when I feel that timing to rendezvous everyone and perhaps create something as a group or connect people up to support one another or create together. I've long felt this desire and this invitation in my work to connect people up, because it's just like, it feels kind of stingy of me to get to work with these individuals and I get to see the overarching theme and how brilliant they are and how they could collaborate together and then not connect them. So I'm really excited for this development in my one-on-one work. Another thing you can do is you could continue into clarity journey with me one-on-one. Which is the next two ceremonies after witness ceremony are called highest access and harvest ceremony. And this whole process creates unstoppable clarity. Like, it's really true, like nothing could stop you from being and creating from your being. So like highest access, it gets you palpably in touch with, your highest access point, frequency point of your being, like you palpably feel it. And then between your witness ceremony information and your highest access, there will be a gap there. And harvest ceremony is about integrating those two that points directly to the precise next step on your highest trajectory to embody that frequency. And when you embody that frequency, eventually external reality has to reflect that. So it's like basically you vibrate your personal heaven and the external environment must reflect that eventually. It can be a process, but in my opinion, there's no greater work in life than this. So, and the precise next step is like, it can be so surprising what it is. It could be something so mundane that you would have never thought. And, and then that can actually be the thing that allows like the bigger work you want to do. Like with a shaman or a wizard like me, or to embark on some kind of training or developing your own work or writing the book or whatever it is that you're desiring to do there. The step that's revealed from doing the whole of clarity journey can be just like adorably mundane, which I just love about it. And so the cool thing is that when you go through clarity journey, you have that, and it's the same with witness ceremony, really, but it's just on a much deeper and more complete level. When you do clarity journey, is like you have this information about yourself that you can then navigate with whatever you do, whether you continue with me or whatever, someone else or whatever you come up with. So yeah, you have this essential information about yourself in your own decision-making process and authority. And then you trust yourself to create, like, finally. And, and I'm somebody who I've long identified with trusting myself. And yet I've found, like, with this residue that I've described, that witness ceremony really revealed to me what it was like. I haven't trusted myself in those areas. There have been errors in thought, errors in belief that affect the way that I actually move in the world, that equated to me not trusting myself. And you could also become a witness ceremony facilitator. So if you go through this and you sufficiently integrated it and you're feeling that readiness, you could step into that this year. We have a facilitator track running where I'm offering a call or two a month where we gather. You can invite people in who might want you to witness with them. And we could get you rolling in that. And it's an incredible tool if you are a service provider, because you can, like I said, I don't go in any direction with anybody anymore until we both know what this is, because it shall be riding shotgun regardless of if you know what it is. And if you don't know what it is, it's a major X factor that can sabotage really good, beautiful work. So it's a really wonderful enrollment tool to empower people to actually like say yes to themselves and say yes to growing. That might be it. Okay, so now I'm here for any questions or reflections or feelings or sensations anybody would like to share. Who's here with me live? And also, those of you who've been through it, who are here, if you would like to share your pattern or anything about your experience in witness ceremony, you are welcome to grace us with your beautiful experience.
I can share.
Okay. Hi, Casey. Thank you.
Hey, guys. I'm a passenger in a vehicle right now, so you don't have to worry about me driving.
Yay.
Yes, I worked with Sari last year and had a very residual pattern that I couldn't see or understand. Well, I could see it. I knew there was something there, but it was like I just never really felt seen. I never really felt loved. I just didn't have a lot of self-love. And so Sari helped me to see the pattern and the beauty of what that pattern was serving for me, how that experience of chasing for love was actually like teaching me about self-love and drawing me closer to self-love. And so then I embarked on a, what was it, 3 months container, I think 4 months, 5 months, something like that, container with her and I didn't know really what I was getting myself into. I just trusted her. Like, what are we doing, Sari? I don't know. Let's go. And then, so for the first couple of months, it was just like we were meeting weekly, and she was also getting bombarded by me with a bunch of questions all the time. Sorry.
I love you. You're brilliant. I love how engaged you are and like just hungry you are when you're ready.
Yeah.
Something else.
Yeah, it's something else, man. Yeah. So and I was going through a relationship at that time too. So it was really juicy. We had some great material to work with. And so, yeah, and just the whole thing, she was able to help me, walk through the integration of the witness ceremony. And then we went into a wilderness. I remember that week of the wilderness was literally the craziest week of my life, still to this day. And like the most karmic, all the gods were like unleashing every karmic thing that I could possibly think of that week for me. And it was great. I had so many opportunities to try out because it was right after highest frequency. That's right. We did the highest frequency ceremony, which was a lot of fun. And then she was like, wilderness time. And I'm like, what? So then we didn't talk for like a week. And that week was the most effed up week I've ever had ever. And so I kept getting the opportunities, literally. And it was awesome because, you got a lot of juicy material out of that. And then the last part was just, integrating the whole thing into like basically releasing me into the world. And so ever since then, it's been, more juicy material in relationship that has enabled me, to like, again, not change that pattern, but accept it as it is, and it's starting to transmute. And so now I'm in the other side of all of that, where I am no longer in chasing mode. I'm in receiving mode.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I love that. Okay, so I want to ask you, do you remember your pattern, like the statement?
I don't have it with me. That's the problem. But I wrote it down, and it was like, when I chase for love, I learn how to love myself, or something like that.
Yeah,
it was around that,
about being the beacon.
Yeah, that was becoming the beacon at the end of it. After highest frequency, I became the beacon of my life. So you took me through this. Did my phone about to die? No. What's going on? Huh. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, weird. Okay. Yeah, you took me through this sludge, and then at the end of the sludge was a light, and at the end of the light was my labyrinth of my life.
Yeah,
that's where I became the beacon. And above the labyrinth. And that is what stuck with me and allowed me to, no longer chase within the labyrinth. Now I'm the beacon, and it's what is inside my labyrinth is going to be coming to me, and I'm going to be shining on all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is one of the cool things about hearing these statements and, people's ceremony reports, I call them, is that they're like, they have a universal quality to them. Like, we'll be like, oh, I get that, and like, even in what you're saying, I'm like, oh yeah, mine is so much like that too. And there's the individual description of it that's the key to your own trip. And so like this word beacon and the labyrinth and everything, it's like, I think there's an essential quality of like leaving ourselves to go do something about our external world when our most influential place is here. But the pattern taught us to go out there to survive, which was valid. And now we're just acknowledging that like, oh, I have this erroneous belief that I have to leave myself. And then you get to see how that works and what the results of that are in your life, which then just makes it make so much more sense to just stay put. And create from the center, and like in Casey's language, like be the beacon. Like she can't help anybody when she's actually out there trying to help people. But when she stays in her center, then people can find her, including like her children, and ask for her, recognize what she has to offer, how she can help them, but it's not by leaving herself. So, yeah. And I want to share that, so Casey and I were talking about doing a project after, and then we just didn't last year. And we're now, she's coming into Wizard cohort. But in the meantime, she freaking took a process from our work together and made a guide and a little journal for people with emotional authority. And it's just absolutely brilliant. And
it's emotional authority tracking system. So one of the things that came out of our work together, one of the many juicy tools that she gave me was tracking. So I was contacting her practically every day with a new way of looking at my life and different emotional wave particles. And she's like, we're going to master this emotional authority. And I'm like, cool. That's what I need. Because I didn't understand how to actually, I knew I had emotional authority, but I understand how to actually utilize it. Like, why do I have emotional authority? So then, over like every other week or so, she'd be like, remember how you felt this? And then start this. She's like, I want you to start tracking. So I started tracking on a scale of 1 to 10 every day. And over the rest of the container, basically, I did that. And after I was tracking it, and you can start to see how your wave actually works. And when it gets like, as the chemicals in your emotional solar plexus starts to build, when it reaches that peak, and then when it happens, when it drops, what does your body do? What triggers you? Like, and then so when you can see that, then you can get out of that blame and shame cycle, because it's like it's just a mechanic. When you actually like you can tell yourself this is just a mechanic, but until you physically understand and see that wave work and see how it functions, then you don't really know. It's not like a body knowledge, So now when I'm coming into a high, I'm like, I am feeling so good. I'm so great. And I am not going to make any decisions. I'm going to wait till I get to my low and see the reality check of what's happening, get through the low, come out of it. Whenever I'm neutral, then I can make decisions. I can see the full picture of that whole wave, and it becomes a cohesive picture. So, but it's really, really helpful for emotional, because we're not
So sweetie, I'm just going to stop you for time's sake, but because I also want to say that so Casey wrote a book, so you can get it. And she has a Facebook group with some additional support. And then we're also creating some other ways to support people within my membership portal. And that's a space where, I share these different transmissions and little workshops. Like last week I did resentment purge, a mini journey. And so members have access to all of that. So yeah, and I love what you're saying about the, the effects of tracking your emotional authority, because it's a similar thing when you find out your witness ceremony pattern. Like, you have this information about yourself so that as you embark, like, I mean, a month ago, my boyfriend broke up with me, and because my, so my patterns, oh, we're back together.
Oh,
My pattern is, like I said, it's when people love me and leave me, I feel connected to God. And so I had all my awareness when this was happening. And I had the best day ever. In fact, after he came, he lives 2 blocks away, and he ran over to my house and he threw my keys at me and was like, "Give me my key back." And I said nothing. I was just calm and breathing, and I handed it to him, and then he left. And I went and I sat down and I was like, okay, I get my reward now. Like, I know it's coming in my pattern. And I had a great day already lined up, and I was just committed to having it. And I did. It was epic. I hadn't had a day like that in years, honestly. And then, in the aftermath of that, it's like, oh, there were some things I was withholding in my relationship that I didn't even realize it. And now that the stakes are like so low, like the things already happened, I'm just gonna let them know and ask for what I want.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's really great, and you can just see it playing out. And it's like, I mean, I know I'm connected to God all the time, but I'm still a little bit wired through my pattern. And I think there's also some authentic patterning in it. It's just like it gets distorted through our conditioning. So it's really cool to see the benefit of it really blossom in your world. Let's see, I'm just going to check in with the messages here. Jem, I'm just gonna, is it okay if I think I can answer this question. You direct messaged me, but Jen was asking if she could switch to just witnessing with me and not the group. Yeah, you can totally do that. Oh, you know what? There was one more slide that I guess it didn't, that was the blank one. Okay, so let me say there's 3 levels of engagement and witness ceremony. You can do just the group stuff, which there's a huge, amount of support there, and, a possibility to have some support with Nova one-on-one and integration. That's $555, and you can just be here for the whole season and do the group. And then if you would like one-on-one call with me, it's $777. And how much did I say the group was? The group's $555. With one-on-one with me, it's $777. And for 3 one-on-ones, it's $1,000. That probably should be $111, or all ones, but whatever. So anyway, yeah, and then if you get in on the group and then you would like one-on-ones, you're welcome to, upgrade them if you feel you'd like that support. Because it's like you may really feel you need the one-on-one to tell your story and just really get it all out and have somebody officially hear it. So yeah, that's. And, the group is there if you're navigating with some financial challenges to, just begin. If you'd like to begin, and you don't have to do your pattern right away. Like, you can hang out and witness other people, and breathe and just be in the field. Even it has immense impact to just step into this field and say yes to the work. And then you have, 6 months to let yourself cook and be in your own readiness. There's no rush to anything. So you may feel an urgency inside yourself, and I'm not here to invalidate that at all. Like, I'm like very much like embracing that this can feel very urgent. A lot of people come to this work feeling very urgent. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not here to bypass that. At the same time, sometimes we can bring in some gentleness and be like, maybe I can take another week. Or, maybe I'm just going to let myself, well, I recall that's kind of how Casey showed up because she came in on the group facilitation that I did with Amy a couple years ago, like she was just like, I'm just gonna watch it and I'm not gonna do it. And then she ended up doing it along the way anyway, so you can find your freaky little way. I'm here for it. Casey said caseydaily.com, DAILEY has more info.
Yeah, it has my original spelling of my first name, KAISIE is my author name. Long story, but that's the
I see that too. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
thanks.
Yeah, and all this you can connect to through me, so you don't have to remember anything. And Jem said she's really interested in the tracking system. I'm that tracking system. I know. I'm so stoked about it. Okay, does anybody else have any other questions? And I see that Elizabeth is Halima's friend. Welcome. And Halima's been through clarity journey, and she's also someone who's easing her way into being a facilitator. All right, well, that's an hour. I'm really proud of myself for doing it an hour, and I did a slideshow. Okay, so yeah, if you'd like to explore coming into this, wading into it, or diving in, just let me know, and I'll send you a link to book a call with me, and we'll get rolling. So, and those of you who are already in, we're going to have our first meeting next week, I believe. Oh, and I see I did get a message from Nova. Yeah, I think it's next week. But anyway, I'll be putting the dates in there. And Nova did say that she'll be doing the second Thursdays at 2 Pacific for her integration calls. I love Nova. Nova's support is like so vast and delicious. I call actually what she does digesting. Like she's really good to digest things with. So, and she's already a pro in that realm, which is why I was like, yeah, you can totally have your own call every month. All right, well, let's all just take a big inhale and exhale together. And keep breathing and put your hands on your body. You close your eyes. And call yourself back into your own center. None of this is about taking my word for it, except for that one piece. If you come in, please trust me to not try to change this or go after it, even if you don't do this. That is my best and maybe only advice in life, is to embrace all that you are and all that you've been, and that doesn't sign you up for anything else ever again. You might repeat some things, but it's all here for you. And it's all for your benefit. And it is absolutely possible to tune your experience to the frequency of your desires. And just that, that deep knowing that is present in our longing. All is well. We are love. We are eternal, having this experience in time and form. Oh,